Our next session on top display trends in 2023 will share insights on the display trends like flexible displays, immersive displays, digital signage, micro LEDs, LCDs, projection technologies, OLEDs, quantum dots, and laser-based display. Our panelists will give an overview of the emerging market for latest technology in display. The panel will also visualize demand of new applications for innovative displays featuring the latest technology. I would now like to invite on stage Aman Singh, Zonal Head, North and West India, Optoma. Audience, please give a huge round of applause. Mr. Rohit AK, Head of Corporate Business, Maxhub, and Mr. Anil Chopra, Founding Director, Palm Expo. Before we begin, I would like to introduce our panelists. Mr. Aman Singh, Zonal Head, North and West India, Optoma, has more than 17 years of experience in IT, infra, technology consulting, and AV industry with key competence in sales and business development, solution sales, brand building, channel development, team management in the enterprise government, and channel teams of the respective organizations. Rohit AK, Head of Corporate Business, Maxhub, has worked for more than 3.5 years to grow Maxhub's cutting-edge business in various verticals. With the opportunities to expand the AV industry and unified collaborations, Mr. Rohit AK shares his instrumental experience in audio, video, web conferencing, and webcasting services with the industry. Not only that, he also shares his expertise under boardroom solutions to deliver the best digital solutions. Last but not the least, Mr. Anil Chopra is the founding director of Palm AV-ICN since 2001. He founded the IRA Indian Recording Arts Awards in 2005, created the AV-ICN platform in 2019, and the Palm Sound and Light Awards in 2010. He has established India's own certification for AV specialists, the CAVS Certified AV Specialist. Audience, please give a round of applause for our panelists.
Hello. I want to thank both Aman and Rohit for joining this panel. The theme for AV-ICN this year was digital display, digital signage, and projection. And this was because in AV, the platform that we have created, AV-ICN, the ICN stands for Integration, Communication, Networking. And Pro AV, the most visible product for the masses, for the corporate sector, or for all the application segments that we talk about for the platform, that is, retail and hospitality and education and infrastructure, government and stadiums. And so the applications for AV is the key hashtags. And the story is the growth story of India, the explosion of almost all the sectors, the explosion of consumption, the affordability of every kind of display. The price factor has vanished. The price determination, the price of products is very expensive, or X or Y display would be very expensive, in my opinion, is not a consideration for the market. And this session will explore in my discussions about what are the strengths of the display market, where lies the opportunity for business, where lies the growth in which segment, and what kind of applications are going to boom. So I will direct my questions to both the panelists and leave either of them to respond. So my first question to the panelists is that, sir, at least in Bombay, when we go through the Western Express Highway, slowly or rather rapidly, now the whole highway is covered with LEDs. And okay, we don't have these hoardings in Delhi. I really can't comment about all the other cities in India. But if I take Bombay as a hint, I personally feel, as a layman, if I may use the term, though I do study all the market reports, but in regard to the display market, and I'm aware of all the applications that are emerging. But what would you think if we draw a pie chart? What kind of percentage is going to be the consumption purely of out-of-home display for the mass viewer, you know, for the advertising world, if we may say so? A lot of it is political, we know that, and it's going to be so. But these displays which are coming up in the cities, you see, there's this whole happiness factor of India becoming rich, India becoming a well-to-do country. We don't see as many beggars on the road, and otherwise everybody is well-clothed, well-fed, and all this story is there. So everybody wants, every city wants to put LEDs over the whole city and have so many LEDs, and the kind of square footage is in millions, according to my rough back-of-the-envelope calculation. So, would you say that the out-of-home LED display section, because we will analyze to depth display, so do you feel that is the main catalyst and the main product segment for all the companies which they will want to target? And what is you feel about the market?
Hello. So I definitely feel that LEDs have become the biggest fad, as in, so as the population is growing, our display area is also reducing. There are more and more companies who want to invest on marketing. And obviously the still content which used to be there earlier, the hoardings which used to be there earlier, you can only pass on a limited information to a customer, or you can only, so it gets somewhat boring also if you have a same hoarding after every, let's say, 1 kilometer also. It gets somewhat boring also. A LED panel, for that matter of fact, it can carry a content in minutes. So you have a content which is rotating after 3 minutes or for 5 minutes. The content is actually not boring, because obviously if you're even stuck in jam, so...
No, we understand the reasons. We understand the fact that the advertisement is changing in milliseconds. Instead of one ad, they're carrying 500 ads. We understand all that. I'm just saying, like the Bombay Municipal Corporation is issuing tenders worth crores.
True.
Tens of crores. True. I don't know, the whole country, how much money and how many millions of square feet of LED is going to be applied. I'm saying, is that the major segment of display consumption, or is there another segment, according to you?
So yes, advertisement would remain to be a major segment for larger LEDs. Obviously, home, you would not go beyond a certain form factor. You would not go beyond a certain size. But when it comes to larger LEDs, yes, advertisement would be the biggest part of it.
And total display, if you take, so out of home, these millions of square feet of LED, what is the pie size you feel that would be the, let's say, percentage pie size you think it would, of the display market, of the total display market in India?
Total display market?
Total display market in India. As Ritika mentioned, we are discussing all the displays, all the displays.
Total display market, the commercial display would be lesser, 30%, 25% of it, because consumer display is itself huge. We have a population of 1.3 billion now.
Okay, good point.
So 1.3 billion, if you just talk about the televisions being sold, which are also considered a display.
Yes.
Projection being sold, which are also considered a display. And then you have other smaller ways of displays. You can call your iPads also a display, your monitors, your laptops also displays.
No, let's leave that
Yeah. So when
mobile
you talk
and
about that, the commercial is very small.
practical displays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Commercial would be
you
smaller.
would say that even though we are seeing the eye candy and we are seeing these large LED displays in all the cities, still the pie chart is
Yes.
lesser than the
Way lesser. Way
huh?
lesser. Even 30% would be on a higher side.
higher side.
Yes.
So which is the largest pie chart for displays in this country to see the opportunity of the display market?
Again, so largest would be consumer.
Yeah, you're talking
Undoubtedly.
about the TV, smart TV
Yes.
displays.
TVs as well as projectors. So projectors are also catching up in that space. The laser TVs are coming up. Your normal projected TVs are coming up. So we had lamp projectors earlier.
Yeah, now of course it's all
we
laser.
have laser. So laser is catching up. So lamp.
So
The difference between a lamp projector to laser projector, the difference has reduced. So customer is able to understand. Okay, buying
Yeah,
a laser
so
projector,
projectors-
investing earlier is.
So
better.
you feel projectors, the laser projectors with less heat and smaller compact ones will. So the total projectors and displays for the home, the newest quality of displays
Yes.
is a larger pie chart, and
Larger
that is how many percent then if we take the total display market?
Again, more than 70, 80%. More than 70 to 80%. If you look at Samsung's overall import, Samsung, LG, other brands put together, the import for the commercial market and import for the consumer market, obviously the consumer market, the import size is way.
Okay, so you're saying 70%. Now, if we have to divide that pie for the commercial, purely for the boardrooms, purely for the other applications of commercials, the entire gamut of commercial applications, whether it is in a laboratory, whether it is in a power station, whether it is in the infrastructure, on the railway platform, airports and all that. I mean, we want to define the pie chart for that sector separately and for home separately.
See, what depends primarily in a display is the size. So rather than dividing it between consumer and commercial, so consumer, you can expect the size would, yeah, for a LED, the size would be a maximum of about 75 inch. So 75 inch at the moment is costing about 4 or 5 lakhs or maximum to 8 lakhs, which a consumer today is able to look at and able to think about he can have it at home. The moment you go beyond 75 inch in a commercial LED, so it comes in, first of all, it is converted from consumer to, it is considered to be a commercial segment of the LED panels. So 75 inch and above, you have a different segment. So if you talk about, if we have to divide in that segment, 75 inch and above, I would say the biggest would be advertising. Even bigger would be education. So 75 inch and above, education is a huge market. Including 75 inch also, education is a huge market. You have interactive panels over there. You have, again, projection over there. You have LEDs over there. If you look at education, if you consider that also into the commercial displays,
Yes.
education would be more than 40, 50% because the entire market runs on display. Whatever you have to teach, you have to show it. You need to have interactivity included. You need to play videos onto it. You have to pass on the information, and larger is better. So the sizes are also growing. So as our population is also growing, the classroom sizes are also growing. So bigger the classroom, bigger the display is what the theory is.
Rohit, since you're from Maxhub, which claims 103% of all the patents for displays. So, I mean, the point is that we do appreciate that. In fact, I must tell the audience that a lot of the patents are not with the large companies, they are with your company. So, you know a lot about the technology factor. As he pointed out that we were discussing the market and we suddenly realized that my story and script about the out of home is not so exciting. Education is more exciting. Home is even more exciting. So the display market in India is quite robust in all segments. And education, he said, nearly 40%. that, of course, it's all off the cuff because he hasn't come with a statistic sheet. We are trying to discuss, make a white paper of the market. So what would you say about the application, the technology factor, which applies in the display, and how is that determining the applications and market size?
So I would like to categorize these display segments into different categories. It's kind of difficult to actually look at it as a very broad market because this market is segmented into very specific use cases. Now, since we are talking about education from educations per se, today, let's say from a KG to a PG, that's a kindergarten to a post-graduation course, anybody who's taking, everybody is highly dependent on multimedia content. And these multimedia content give you the best clarity and the best experience for a student. And the best surface to display it on is an LED display. And what makes it even better is if you can have interactivity with the content. So with the onset of all the new technologies that are coming up, let's say with respect to AI or with respect to distance education, with respect to hybrid teaching and other stuff, COVID has played a part as a catalyst.
It's a catalyst,
Actually taking this to the next level. So where some of the users or some of the end users were reluctant to adopt this technology due to their own limitations with respect to understanding the technology, the whole pandemic has made it a basic necessity. It's no more a luxury. So a display in a classroom today is something as important as a desk. So that's something as basic as that. So today we can say with the market segment we are trying to touch in the previous couple of years, I guess we are not even scratching at the surface.
That's exactly what we want to emphasize, is that the display market in India is just beginning in terms of sophistication of the product.
We are just getting started. We have a very long way to go. We have a lot of technologies to bring into this particular space. So currently we are still with some touch technology that is widely accepted as an acceptable one, where we are working on certain technologies out there in our R&D centers which will actually revolutionize the space in a very, very short period of time.
Right, you're talking about AI and gesture,
AI, or the simple touch technologies like a IR touch technology or a capacitive touch technology. The endeavor is to make it affordable to the every user.
I see.
Primarily, today, a top-notch touch technologies cannot be afforded by end customers because of the price point that we are operating.
Yes, price point of interactive touch screens is still very high for a normal office to afford, if I may say so.
Not anymore. Actually, not anymore. Because the volume grew up due to pandemic. I think the prices crashed in last 3 years. It has crashed to a tune of being lesser than a television actually for interactive flat panel. When you talk about displays, so if you leave education out of it, that is where everybody gets enticed. That is where your imagination goes above and beyond. Because that is bigger the screen, bigger the experience, larger the screen size, you can captivate more audience at the single time. The ROI, when you talk about how many people can look at, as the screen size grows bigger, that is where the market, the profitable market is where, in bigger screen sizes. So 75 inch, 86 inches is where the interactive flat panels have cushioned themselves. So 86 inch and beyond is where the commercial panel comes into play.
I see.
Up till 86 inch, the prices have crashed.
Okay, just to repeat that for the audience, you feel that the very large panels, 75 inch, 80 inches, interactive displays, these are going to become much more fast selling, and this is where the profit lies. The real profit lies in those panels, not so much in the smaller size panels. As you
Profit lies above 75 inches as well.
Above 75 inches is where the real game lies in terms of product, in terms of profitability, and in terms of the capturing the upper end of the market.
True.
But since you come from Delhi, right?
I come from Delhi.
So it's surprising because for you, 4 lakhs does not seem to be much of a figure to afford. Though we in Bombay find it a little bit difficult to buy a 4 lakh rupees television. And but Delhi, of course, is where all the money is.
No, sir.
But,
Bombay is way ahead when it comes to larger displays. When it comes to higher resolutions, Bombay is way ahead.
Right.
And obviously, Bombay is well educated also on what to buy.
Okay. But this is the education market. I think this application of 85, 70 is in the corporate.
Yes.
And
For
education, I think the whole country, I would like Rohit to just throw some light if we can on the education market matrix in India in terms of demand and where is the market lie and what are the figures. If you have any figures, if you can quote some crores, it will be nice. Yeah.
I'll quote you numbers. I'll quote you quantity instead of the figures. So today we are seeing anywhere between the interactive display market in India for the previous year, anywhere between averaging around 50 to 70,000 is what we are looking at. Putting all the players out there in the market together. So 50 to 70,000 panels for a country of 1.5 billion almost is absolutely nothing.
Nothing. It has to go into lakhs and lakhs now.
And the thing about this particular technology is, though it is, I will not say it's over the top, but it's still a little on the pricier side, I would say. This will come down gradually with the increase in volume. Just like how our commercial televisions are, like what it was 10 years back and what it is now. So there is a sea of changes. There is a huge difference in the price game. That's something that we are going to see in the very, very short future. Basically, as I told you, COVID, going back to COVID all over again, we don't want to, but just as an example. But so that has acted as such a catalyst that even a tier 3 city customer today is aware about the technology that is available and they want to adopt it. And it is not just schools, colleges. Let's say about every private coaching institute today. They have to have this particular unit as part of their coaching kit because they are optimizing on the abundance of internet that is available today. We are moving from 3G to 4G in 10 years and we moved from 4G to 5G in less than a year and a half. So with the availability of bandwidth today and the availability of the top-notch collaboration solutions like the Zooms of the world, the Google Meets of the world, teaching has become so much more easier and displays are the platforms which they are using to take this to the world. So a teacher sitting in Delhi is able to teach to a student sitting in, let's say, in Salem in Tamil Nadu, seamlessly. And the student is able to compete on par with a kid sitting in Bangalore, all thanks to the interactive display that is out there. And same is the case with respect to the hybrid teaching that is coming up, where a student sitting in the class and a student sitting at home are able to see the same view in their particular monitors. So they're not losing out by not being able to come to the classroom. So there is a lot of push from the government side, also from the end customer side to adopt this technology.
Yeah, but 50, 70,000 is not the sum total of the education market, right?
No, it is not.
No.
So what would be the sum total of the education market? Because I see all the exhibitors, a lot of them are talking about the tenders and contracts they are getting from the education market. And I mean, you can see the glow on their face of the money they are earning. They are earning millions right now. When they talk about the education market, I got one from government of Karnataka in one small region, something like, I don't know how many displays he has to install. And then you say, oh my God, there are 500 districts in Karnataka. And then there are another 200 districts in Maharashtra and Orissa. And the central government is giving money to all the states. And the states have also got a lot of money. So what is the value of the education market, display market? I understand, yes, we should forget about the out-of-home market. Let us focus on the education. I think the big opportunity lies there.
Absolutely.
Not even at home.
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest opportunity, education.
Yeah. Definitely.
Probably bigger than hospitality, probably bigger than retail, probably bigger than infrastructure. I think education is the big secret of where the golden
that is obviously
lies.
there, sir. Reason being, that is very reliant on display. Education, you cannot do without a display in education. You have to showcase whatever. So earlier we were using blackboards. Now
So we realize the application.
Exactly.
I'm talking about the market
the
size.
volume, if I talk about last year, so if we talk about IFPs and projection put together,
Yeah.
I think the overall volume was close to about 3.5 to 3.75 lakhs units that were sold.
Displays. Where the
This
projection.
includes IFPs as well as projectors. Nothing else. So I'm not talking about the televisions if they were sold as a medium of display. I'm only talking about interactive flat panels and the projectors.
Fine, that's good.
Projector also
Around 3.5 lakhs.
3.5 to 4 lakhs, between that.
Rohit, you agree with that figure?
I do agree with that. I will not be able to corroborate on the projection-based systems since we do not are associated with it. But with interactive display, yes, we would come somewhere close to that. 50 to 70,000 would be displays. The rest of them will be the projection-based systems.
Oh, I thought 50 to 70,000 was just the high-end 75-inch above.
No, the overall education displays that I'm saying.
Just 70,000.
Overall education. So you consider up till March or up till December?
Up till March.
That was 1.5 lakhs for IFPs. That was 1.5 lakhs for IFPs. So,
okay, the figures are looking bigger.
yeah, so couple of orders here and
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there were a lot of orders which people, other brands, they consider, okay, in the span of next 2 years, it'll be considered. Some people consider it for.
Yeah.
So we consider from the order placement. So
Right.
The order placed, that many orders were placed in the span of last
So
quarter.
1.5 lakhs for displays, around 2 lakhs for projectors.
From Maxhub, I would definitely say they would consider orders delivered. Right, that would be a factor.
No, displayed is okay.
No, because at the end of the day, if that shipment is out of my factory, that's when I consider it to be sold.
Yeah,
So-
but figures are basically for fudging. So a little
Not
fudging,
fudging.
I don't know, we really, because you know what is happening? There is no survey, there is no proper statistics for the market.
There is.
There
There are proper numbers which are being published. And the agencies are good agencies, as in they are credible enough. So we, almost every BenQ, Optoma, Epson, your Maxhub, in fact, ViewSonic. So everybody looks at those numbers only to decide, okay, who's the leader, who's falling where. Even LG and Samsung, they look at the same report.
Okay.
So if all of us, all of the brands are looking at that, then I guess those numbers should be credible. Because those are the only numbers that we can rely upon. There's
Right.
no other number that we can judge
So that,
how many were
that,
sold.
that figure says
Yes.
around 3.5 lakhs for
Yes.
the education market.
For the education
And it has figures for all the other markets?
That's different. So obviously the projection itself, so IFPs, out of the education, the moment you move beyond education, so one segment is B2B, second segment is home also, which is picking up. That is very small. It is not that huge. In a school, you can have 100 classrooms. And 100 classrooms means you can have 5,000 students and you have 100 classrooms. In a office, you can have 5,000 people, but just 2 meeting rooms. So if you look at the ratio, the number of people who would be, who would be using that application, so that reduces in terms of B2B. In education, that's higher. When it comes to home again, so home can have one. For 10 people home or 30 people home also, you will have one such device. The ratio in school is higher, that's all. Otherwise also, so last year, if you look at the actual trend will come out this year. The reason being last year was majorly consumed by the chip shortage, China lockdown. Projection market itself, we felt a huge setback because during the actual education boom, we did not have any projectors available. IFPs, yes, IFPs, I guess IFPs was also, they were not
on the same boat.
abundant.
So I would like to just take the discussion to other major segments like retail. Now in retail and in normally in all the technology exposure for displays, we see a lot of retail applications in terms of changing the dress automatically, showing all the dresses, different colors. And there's a lot of AI-inspired application maybe in retail. So, but in real world, I think 99.9% of retail are static, are the normal displays. But looking at the retail sector in India as one sector, just to discuss, since a lot of the technology applications you're aware of what would you comment on the retail sector in terms of figures maybe, or otherwise, what kind of displays are at the moment being used, and what you see emerging very soon for retail?
So when we talk about the retail sector, again, I guess it gets categorized again into an outdoor and an indoor. So,
Outdoor retail?
Outdoor retail, yeah, advertising. If you're looking at advertising perspective.
Yes, there is outdoor also, yes.
Yeah. So when we talk about indoor today, there are a lot of companies out there who are, as you rightly said, are inventing on with AI as a platform. They are inventing a lot of new things. Where, just to take an example of Lenskart, let's say. Today, if I have to try spectacles, I can do it from my phone. But it might not be as easy to test out your dress on a phone. So what they're doing, they're coming up with is smart mirrors, is one thing that are coming up with. Similarly, the displays are also being used in these kind of technologies where they want to take it a little beyond just a signage solution. They want to make it interactive for the particular user, create a wow factor, where a user today is so used to e-commerce that he wants to have multiple options at the click of a button. And if you can get that in a walk-in store, what better thing to do? So with this, the displays again are playing a big part where some of the displays, like especially some of the ones that Maxhub is developing, are coming up with inbuilt cameras also. So wherein that cameras can be used for multiple features. One is the classic use case it's being built for is for a boardroom, of course, but nothing is stopping us from changing the orientation of the display and turning it into a display where it can be put in a store, let's say a retail store, where with the right application, the user will be able to test out multiple clothes at the flick of a button or just by sliding that particular option. So it's going to create a lot of wow factor for the users, and I can fairly say it's going to reduce a lot of inventory management for these retail chains. That's basically because the amount of options that they need to have for a user, it's going to come down drastically because all of it is going to be in digital form. So at multiple levels, this is going to change the way things are being done is what I feel.
Yeah. I'm seeing all the display retail, I mean, having displays. How big is that market for across the entire economy in India, you feel? Because we have seen that education is very robust. As you said, 100 rooms and so many schools. So we are getting some idea about education, and it's really looking too big. And so also we saw about the out of home large LED, but what about retail? What do you think is the retail market size?
So again, it depends. Under retail also, it depends on the category. So as you rightly said, so we have outdoor application for retail stores, indoor application for the retail store. At retail, the display also is categorized in what kind of display, how big of a screen. So size would matter a lot. Depending upon the size, it can be an active LED, it can be a OLED, QLED, it can be a projection, it can be, it'll obviously depend on the size. It'll depend on the ambience, what kind of light you have.
That also is a given. How big is the market?
Market size would be about 1 lakh odd or 2 lakh odd panels. For active LEDs, I'm not really sure. Active LEDs is really picking up. Now, active LEDs also, you have different categories. So you have different pixel pitch. So like this is the active LED right behind us. Now, these has different versions of it. A smaller pixel pitch would actually be as good as your television. It would be as with 0.8 mm of pixel pitch. It is as good as your television. The brightness, your pixel, your overall resolution. Outdoors, they use a pixel pitch of 2.5, 3 mm. So you have to categorize them in that way. You have to further categorize into other sub-segments. Because if you talk about it as a whole, I don't think you will get a right speaker who would be able to give you the entire volume. Nobody would know.
To be a little candid here, it's a touch difficult to actually judge what the exact figure is. Primarily because we as manufacturers of these display solutions are not at a stage where we will develop something specifically for a retail. We might develop something that is of a general use case which might be used for retail. So the figure what he told about projection systems is accurate because it's built for that particular use case only, for education. But when it comes to this particular segment, there are a lot of commercial displays, non-touch displays, signage displays, which get doubled up as a couple of things. It can be a television, it can be a signage, it can be used for the use cases that we are talking about. So to put a right figure on that, it's a touch difficult because as you mentioned earlier, there is no great matrix by which we can go. There is no great reports by which we can go. Yeah.
True, true, true. So I'm getting the impression everything is dependent on the technology. And I think we should discuss where the market is going in respect of new technologies. So there are different pitch LEDs and they have certain applications or cannot be used for certain applications because then it gets, the grainy effect or whatever. So where do you see the market going in terms of the LED quality, the pitch, and otherwise the application-wise, which is the technology coming into the market, soon going to be a wave in the market?
I'll speak from the potential point of view first, especially for outdoor LEDs, let's say. Outdoor LEDs are fighting against the vinyl flexes today. Yeah? An outdoor LED that's installed there runs for anywhere between 1 lakh hours or more. Okay? Taking a 24/7 application that runs for a good 8 years, I guess, 8, 9 years, I guess, nothing less. And the kind of display solutions and the kind of customization you can do on those is second to none. So slowly what is happening is with the influx of so many LEDs coming in, the cost of these LEDs is also crashing drastically. And this has been happening from pre-COVID times also. So what this is doing is the adoption of this particular technology is becoming that much easier. Today the LEDs that are out there, especially the outdoor LEDs that are out there, as he rightly said, starts from 2.5 mm pixel pitches. We don't see that getting reduced at any point soon because there is no real use case of reducing the pixel pitches smaller than a 2.5, be 2.5. But with respect to the indoor ones, yes, we are already at 0.8. 0.8 is literally negligible. That's as good as a TV. We foresee it becoming lesser and lesser by the day. What is also coming up in this LED space is these particular transparent LEDs that are getting caught up pretty soon. Where in this, especially in these retail segments, it's being, the request, we are hearing this from the customers, that they want to actually explore what are the options for them to have these transparent LEDs and stuff like that. So there are also certain customers in B2B segment in the corporate world where they want to see how they can replace their glass walls with LEDs. Where they can have a two-way LED, they don't want to have a glass. If it's going to be affordable enough, they want to go for it. So today I can say that there are a lot of technological advancements that are happening, especially in this space where for places where LED should not be there, people are willing to go for an LED. That's where the things are going.
I see. So the transparent LEDs is a big market. And in terms of outdoor spaces, you don't find much changing from 2.5?
So for outdoors, the biggest disadvantage in outdoors is the sunlight. Wherever you talk about a display, so these are basically emitting light, either emitting or they are reflecting a light. So the biggest disappointment is sunlight falling over your display because that will cancel out the brightness, whatever is being reflected or emitted out of your display. So there the flex is the actual option and flex is what plays through. So whenever you talk about a display, so you don't take your television out in the sun and you cannot watch it because it is next to impossible. Even your phone, you have to increase your brightness to even, watch it when you are right under the sun. So it's the same thing as in the display technologies, they do have some limitations and the limitation is the sunlight. Evenings, nights, yes, outdoor displays, it can be as good as, so people used to watch, we have outdoor cinemas also coming up. So post-pandemic, the outdoor cinema has picked up. There are a lot of new e-cinema organizations that have come up who are actually now trying to build up cheaper cinema theaters, movie theaters, and they want to reach out to masses. And they want to reach out to smallest of villages and they want to showcase. There, the projection as a technology is a driving factor. When you talk about, if you talk about again the metropolitans, they are spending more and more on active LEDs rather than your normal TVs. Reason being, active LEDs at the moment have crashed. The price-wise, they have crashed. Wherever it is possible to use a higher brightness projector, they are using that. So when you talk about in terms of technology-wise, so projection as a display technology, if you draw per square inch or the screen size, the projection would be the cheapest. Then it would be the active LEDs, then it will be your QLEDs, microdots. The last would be the LCD displays. So LCD displays, because of the size restriction, so LCD displays up till 65, it is affordable. Beyond 65, 75, it becomes slightly exorbitant. Active LEDs, obviously, so if you want to have a 1,000-inch screen, the cheapest would be a projected screen, if it's possible. Then would be a active LED. Then would be a LED screen.
So, what is your opinion about LCD? I mean, isn't it just about sunset time? Or is there some applications where LCD,
I wouldn't say it's a sunset time, but it definitely is a time of an LED today. Basically from the durability point of view. Let's consider a simple LED. Let's consider a use case going back to where I'm comfortable with, where it's an interactive display. So let's just say an interactive display, which is an LED, basically it'll have a lifespan of anywhere between 30 to 50,000 hours. That's where everybody are ranging today. And a classic use case of, let's say, even an 8-hour a day for a 6-day week, a 30,000-hour LED will last you for around 10 years' time. So on an average, when every equipment is getting obsolete in 3 to 4 years, or a customer is looking to change it, 10 years is double the amount of time that the product will be durable. So the durability of the product is what is making this that much more affordable. Even if the initial capex of this product is high, the overall ROI of this particular purchase is going to add up in the duration of its lifespan. So that's how people are more adapting towards this technology. LCD, I will not say it's completely gone, but LED is here to say that's something that I can tell you.
Right. So is there a market for LCDs in the upper end of the home market?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Even
So
that is over.
Upper end of home market, so obviously you need bigger, so when you go bigger and brighter, what you also need to stabilize is the colors. So because displays, that is the primary factor wherein you have to approach as close to the color which is being fed as a signal. So when that happens, so LCD, a bigger size LCD, that will start failing over there. The technology-wise, that will start failing. You would need a bigger, or you would need a technology which is much more recent to show you those colors.
So LED is more stable than LCD in terms of color bleeding and all.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's the future then, of course. I mean, there is no place for investment into LCD at the moment in India, I feel. So all the investment will be towards LEDs.
LED, yeah.
Now, in LEDs, going back to the technical side, what do you feel is the maximum product feature? At what pitch is the maximum market size for various applications, whether retail and then education, out of home? Which is the critical, where the pie chart, where the graph will give you the maximum return, which is a production that should be done?
From a manufacturer's perspective?
Yes, manufacturer's perspective or a trader's or a market estimation.
From our perspective, I would say the segment that is going to have the biggest amount of ROI for us is education sector. This education can be private or public. It does not matter which. So that's the segment that everybody, all of us are today are keyed up on, all of us are concentrating on. But a huge segment that is going to come up.
And that would be like, what type of features would that product have, maximum usage? 2.5 LED pitch size, or a other cheaper one or a better one?
In terms of active LED, okay, I was mentioning about the LED with respect to the sizes which will get fit into a room. If you're talking about a large size LEDs, it's still going to be the retail. What's going to be the concentration out there?
No, in education.
In education, I don't see much of a huge market today for education in terms of active LEDs, primarily from the point of view of the pricing. let's say projection-based systems will be able to do more justice to their investment than an active LED in a school environment or in a college environment. So I would say there is still a little distance to go before active LEDs becomes relevant in that space. I guess Aman will be better to answer that question instead of me.
So actually what happens is, so when you talk about a larger screen size, yes, projection will always trump over any other technology. Reason earlier, so there was a technology where the light source was lamp. The decay of a lamp was higher. The life cycle of that lamp was smaller. So 6,000 hours was the usual life cycle of a lamp to be replaced. And there was a decay. In those 6,000 hours also, there is a decay. So every 1,000 hours, your brightness is going half. Now, with laser coming into play, the life of the laser projector is 30,000 hours. So it is as good as your LEDs of the world and displays of the world. With 30,000 hours, you are also talking about, so it is just a matter of distance. So if you have a projection distance available, you can achieve the screen size. Let's say it's a dark room. So in a dark room like a cinema theater, just imagine you are putting up a micro LED or you are putting up active LED or a LCD. That will be exorbitant. A projection system, a 7,000 lumens or a 10,000 lumens brightness projector would cost about less than 10 lakhs. Your LED screen would go into crores. So that is where the ROI picture plays in. So when you talk about the commercial market, projection is the technology that you have to seek after.
So many applications,
Yes.
projection is still there.
Yes. So the 3 years of pandemic, there were a lot of changes that happened. So there were a lot of changes in terms of the technology part, the projection part. Yes, active LED was picking up. Here, the part shortage came into play. Today, we see the market growing. We see, so we have a lot of rental partners who have moved to active LEDs and coming back to projection systems again.
Okay.
Because for them also holding the technology, it is smaller, it is easier to carry, it is easier to move, easier to install also.
I see.
So that is where projection comes into play, and that is where when the life is also similar, they are able to do it. Their ROI is much more higher. The investment initially, what they have to put in, that is even got lesser. So
Rohit, you're in trouble because
We
it
are.
looks like that.
At the end of the day, it's a sine curve. We were on top during a couple of years back. We are like, we'll come back again. Not to worry.
So we can bump off to the Q&A right away, please.
Hello, this is Alok, and I'm from advertising. The panel discussion was quite interesting, but it was more to do with education. I have few questions associated with advertising. And especially when we talk about LEDs outdoors, there are series of LEDs coming up over a period of time. So the moving messages have the tendency of losing on the OTS factor, the opportunity to see. And the recollection level also comes down. Because when you keep on seeing different messages in the quickest interval, तो कितना याद रहेगा पता नहीं है. And secondly, as you said कि light जो है sunlight also affects. So going forward, what do you feel is going to be the future? Is this trend going to be just for a phase and then it will ease out, or?
So when you talk about, so obviously advertisement would be a big factor when it comes to indoors. Outdoors, I would say still form factor is still better. One, I think the government, if you have more and more of active LEDs or LED displays out there, the government itself after some time would ban it, saying that it is a, for a driver it is
A nuisance.
It's a nuisance. Actually, it's a nuisance. And light flashing on somebody's eyes in a different way, it can affect. So government itself might ban them. That is one of the reasons why no OEM, no manufacturer is actually looking at that part, looking at subsidizing it, looking at advancement over there, because it will become a nuisance eventually.
Rohit?
I would say this will revolutionize with the onset of more content creators out there, content providers out there, let me say that. That's basically because in advertising LEDs, we are seeing these 3D advertisements that are coming up, that literally are like literally screaming in your face to buy those products. So that's where this is going to go a hand in hand between a manufacturer and a content creator or a content developer, I guess. So that's where we're going to go.
So
I have a question to you on this, that as far as this LED media on outdoor or even indoors is concerned, it is highly skewed towards creativity. Otherwise, it becomes just a poster kind of a thing. Whereas most of the ad agencies, from the creative point of view, or the media owners or the media sellers, do not have much of a knowledge about the software or creativity. They are creative, but they cannot convert that into the software. So, what is the possibility of a creative agency interacting with some software company? And are there such software companies who specialize in converting the creatives into this format?
I guess more than a question, you showed me an opportunity where I can work on in the next couple of months.
Would love to work with you on this.
Definitely.
But in terms of advertising of LEDs out of home, from my point of view, the vinyl hoardings will be soon over. Every last hoarding will be LED. And very soon you will have networking, satellite or broadband, where thousands of LEDs can start a campaign at the same second. So in terms of dissemination of the product idea or launching a product, it will be soon replaced with these LEDs, where you will have companies who will offer you 5,000, 10,000 LEDs, 100,000, 200,000 LEDs across the country, or even 1 million, which will be all networked through broadband. So you can launch the product in phases meticulously. And also for public campaigns, the government will realize the potential for these LED networks to communicate a public message.
It will be really fantastic the day it comes through that. But one of the disadvantage or limitation of this outdoor media is that they are disorganized. Like you have various vendors within city who have 10, 15, 20 hoardings. They may not have any network otherwise.
It is happening. I think it's a long phase and it's a long way to 1 million networked LEDs.
Yeah, because as you said, creativity-wise, and if somebody can do the networking, the opportunity will be much higher.
Yes. So that is what technology is all about. That is what you have to envision. So a static display will not have any purpose, because you can network displays in the lift, in the toilet, public toilet. You can network it simultaneously with the outdoor hoardings. You can simultaneously network it with so many millions of displays that are on the band, on the broadband. So nowadays you go to one lift, then you go to another lift, then you go to another lift, and you see the lift signages. It can be connected even to the retail LEDs, because once you bring in information, communication, networking, that is our show, AV-ICN, where all you can network, and for communication, what all you can network, how to integrate that, and how to use 5G, how to use broadband. So that is the leverage for all of these technologies, whether it is display, digital signage, or even as far as cinema goes, you know. So you have to imagine all these opportunities for the products and applications also, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So I think, that's time's up, and I want to thank both of you for sharing your knowledge of the display industry.
Thank you so much.
But as is quite evident, that a lot more discussion and a lot more ideas have to flow from the manufacturers about their products and how they see the applications and how much they see the market segment. But definitely interactive LEDs, touchscreen prices have to come down, and the market has to expand, no doubt about that. And I think that's another very big market segment that is to open up, right, with the education.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you very, very much. Please, thank you
so much.
Thank you so much, panelists, for this wonderful session. Can we please have Mr. Anil Chopra to give a very small token of appreciation to Mr. Rohit AK and Mr. Aman Singh. Audience, please give a round of applause.